As we start, quick survey. How many in the room have already experienced some BMC automation products? Raise your hand. Like Blade Logic, Atrium Orchestrator. So really, great tool, but not in automation. Not this type of automation. Okay, so how many of you have already started some kind of initiative on cloud, like having a first pilot for private cloud in your company?
It's always on the surface, you know. These questions, they are beginning to appear.
To emerge. So it's kind of a nascent topic. Okay. So my objective for that presentation is that in the next 30 minutes, there will be still more than 10 people in the room. So stay with me. Okay, so yeah, it's a nascent topic here, apparently in Russia. So I'd like to give you a quick agenda about what we are going to cover. And I hope my English is okay, just you have translation available if you want to. So it's a journey. There are a number of things that we want to actually touch on. I want to give you also a little bit of a deep dive on the technology that is at stake to enable a cloud lifecycle management. And by lifecycle, I really mean about how do you actually figure out whether you need a private cloud, whether you need to go hybrid cloud, what is at stake, how do you plan for the cloud? And obviously, when you have figured out why there is a business case for a cloud, it's not just a hype thing, then how do you actually build a cloud in a consistent way, on an ongoing way? And by ongoing, I mean by not only do you do day 0, day 1, but you figure out about how you're going to manage what we call the day 2 of the cloud, which is about how do I monitor what is in the cloud, how do I ensure the compliance and the security of what is in the cloud. And by the end of the 30 minutes, hopefully, if I do a reasonable job, I should also show you that good news. Actually, I have personally started the cloud journey at BMC with customers in 2007. Yeah. So we've been a long way. So we're now in a way that we are extremely packaged. We have actually eased the implementation of cloud lifecycle management in a massive way. So it's not plug and play, but quite close. Okay, so let's go for it. Changing cloud requirements. So most people would think that actually going to the cloud is very much figuring out some templates on how can I provision those templates in the cloud. But actually very quickly, once people figure out that it's actually provisioning a VM is not a big deal, it's actually much more about provisioning the full stack. By the full stack, we mean the storage, the compute, the network. It's what is in the compute being not only the VM provisioning, the OS provisioning, database provisioning, all those things. So it becomes to be kind of a big thing in terms of orchestration and automation to get up to, so that someone can get on one portal, one of your business analysts can get on a portal, can look in the service catalog, can find how to actually provision a full web server, a full website, a full SharePoint environment, and click on, yeah, I want a SharePoint environment, I want that many gigabytes of disk, I want that type of SharePoint, production, development, internal, external, It click on those number of options, say yeah, and everything happen automatically in the back so that within an hour, it's done. So that is very much requiring full stack multi-tier provisioning. Every single manual step you're going to have will expand and delay the entire thing, obviously. Then it comes to how do I get to hybrid cloud? How do you figure out on your cloud requirements, how are you going to decide whether you want this SharePoint website to be in your data center or to be actually in a private hosted cloud at one of our partners or to be in a public cloud? How do you decide that? How do you decide for that? Based on your policy, based on the requirements, based on the policies, based on the cost, based on all those elements. How do you decide for hybrid cloud? That's the next thing. And obviously in this world, how do you make sure that what you build is production ready, that everything you do is compliant, and that in an ongoing way you can optimize? So it's all this full set of requirements that are now taking people to consider what is it to build for managing a cloud environment properly, professionally. With that type of requirements, one of our customers, SAP, well-known software vendor, is operating 27,000 servers in their hybrid cloud with our technology. Largest telecom companies use CLM for that. T-Systems just signed up for it. The large MSPs, managed service providers, so Capgemini, Atos, Fujitsu, use our software actually to deal with the production environment. So very robust. So to do that, we've looked about challenges along your journey. What is the urgency to deploy the cloud? What are the business pressure? The complexity of the cloud, the user demand changing, managing the risk. So all that are challenges that are going to actually put you at risk when you are looking at doing the cloud. No surprise. By the way, interesting is that complexity of the cloud. Most people started by saying, if I want to go to the cloud, first thing I'm going to do is standardize. It's going to be do 3 configurations. So that operating system, that hypervisor, that operating system, those database, those version, done. Most people who've done that, return on experience, did it okay. No one came in the cloud, in their private cloud. None of the dev people, none of the application people wanted to get in because they were not in this type of configuration. And they didn't have the time and the money to actually change their development to comply with the cloud standards. So the return on experience is if you go for the cloud or when you go to the cloud, make sure that you get for a very rich configurable environment. Highly rich configurable environment. Why that? Because therefore, more and more of your application portfolio will qualify to get in the cloud and therefore will get the benefits of flexibility, cost optimization, and all those different elements. So very important that you have in mind standardization is something you want to pursue, but it has to be in a world of high configuration. Let's take an example. You know the Mini Cooper? You know the Mini? Okay, so there are very much 3 models of Mini in the world. But there are 100,000 of different configurations. And they are all manufactured in the same plant. So they have managed to build a chain, a production chain, that can always do the same Mini with 100,000 configuration. Your challenge in making a cloud in production is to build that chain. One startup process to build 100,000 of configuration made of the same wheels, same different blocks. But how do you enable to actually build those blocks together? Okay, so fast, build to last. I'm going to pass that. That's what BMC Cloud Lifecycle Management. So here are the 4 elements, the 4 pillars we believe are important when you consider cloud lifecycle management. First thing is platform neutrality. Second thing is full stack service. Third thing is fast time to value. And fourth thing is compliance and governance. So now I'm going to take you through what I mean by platform neutrality, full stack, fast time, and compliance, because that is what is required to build a hybrid cloud, and that is what BMC CLM will give you. Platform neutrality. You just don't want to build your cloud production machine limited to one context. Let me give you an example. 100% of our customers use VMware. 86% of our customers use 2 hypervisor. 56% of our customers use 3. Let me give you an example. Unilever use all Microsoft for everything, but use AIX LPAR for SAP. And many customers are like that. So be prepared that you're going to have to manage these elements. You may tier your storage capability so that you give the best of VMC Square for your business critical application in terms of storage, and you give something perhaps less high range for your file server or your SharePoint server. What are the benefits of that? That's where it's going to start. Because right now you may be giving the top high end to everyone. If you start having the ability to tier your resources, now you're going to be able to say, you know what, it's not that business critical. I'm going to give a low-end storage. I'm going to give an open source hypervisor. I'm going to give low-end. Hang on, that's SAP. That's my most business critical application. I'm going to give it top-end storage. I'm going to give him this type of hypervisor because, by the way, SAP requires it, and da. So the cost of the infrastructure for the SAP environment will be significantly different from the one you have from other things. Here's the point. In 12 months, the cost of those different components will have completely changed. Again. True? True. Likely. Okay? So give yourself the opportunity to build a platform that enables you to actually go and actually pick on those different elements and be able to actually go in community clouds, private cloud, physical, private, and so on. So that's a very important requirement. So that is what BMC is actually doing. With the same platform with BMC CLM, you can actually provision bare metal, virtual, on private and public cloud. Why is that important? Because there may be some application that you have that still requires some, for instance, database engines that are on a bare metal environment, on an operating system, because of Oracle licensing model, as an example, because Oracle licenses on virtual cost a lot of money. So you want to keep Oracle on a physical environment, but have all the rest of the application servers and so on in a virtualized or in the cloud. So those things are very critical for you to be able to actually get platform neutrality. So how do we do that? Your business user is actually able to go on BMC CLM, get in the portal, get access to the service catalog, so that BMC CLM will figure out, based on the policy, where to best source the different elements. So with CLM, you are able to provision in all those different elements and more. We've just announced a massive partnership with Microsoft Azure, which means that out of the box, when you install CLM here in your offices, you can actually automatically say, hey, by the way, for this application, I want to provision it in Azure. The same for Amazon. And you have no development to do. It's all coming out of the box with CLM. And that applies to all those different elements. So a lot of packages is not only providing you with the automation engine, but it's providing you with all the containers and all the adapters to go and provision on all those different environments and more. So that's what CLM is actually giving you. And we have actually a large community of people developing more and more adapters to enable you to connect to this complexity. By the way, let me step back. Very important is connection to OpenStack. I don't know if you guys are hot on OpenStack, but one more time, we have native integration with OpenStack. So you can consider BMC CLM on two folds. First is CLM is your cloud management platform, or B, you may have some other cloud management platform, and CLM will play the role of a manager of manager. So you can manage different type of cloud management platform with CLM. So CLM in more details is cloud management platform, which give you out of the box an enterprise catalog and self-service. So within CLM, you're coming with a catalog that's giving you all the tools and the automation capability to provision, deploy, and configure. It ensures compliance and control, and it integrates with your Remedy environment. So that if you have Remedy installed, every time you're going to click and ask for something, if you plug them together, it's going to become automatically a change request. So that everything that is being asked by the business analyst on CLM become a change request that you can track. We'll obviously go and update the CMDB. so that if it ever happens something on the infrastructure that you have provisioned with CLM, you will be able to support it. And that is pretty cool. That is a unique. So, full stack provisioning. That is what you have to deal with. And that is what the users want to order. Okay? And right now, most customers, when they have the business analyst to require a new environment, you give them a big spreadsheet, I bet, when they have to say all the things they need in your infrastructure so that you can go and provision it and build it. And this is tiring. So to give you an example on SAP, to provision an SAP environment, people are asking the business analyst 115 different parameters. That is what infrastructure and production people ask to the business analyst. 115 different parameters. With CLM, we ask them 8. So of course, at that time, asking people 8 parameters is not a big deal. They know about it, and all the rest can be automatically built. It's very much like, you remember what it took in the time to connect to the TCP/IP network, and what it takes now to connect your iPad to Wi-Fi. Same thing. So, full stack provisioning is coming with Service Designer, Service Blueprint, Intelligent Placement, and Autoscale. What I mean by that is that you can provision, all those different elements. You can provision platforms. You can provision application. And that is very much how you're going to mature the deployment of your cloud. Most people will start by asking the cloud to provision, do things, and very quickly go to that level. But at the end, this is what you really are looking for. So, that is what we deliver. So the way it works is that in CLM, you will have people who will design the application models. So very much in the like of, that is SharePoint. It's made of some storage, some application server, some application code, and some presentation layer. Okay. What is interesting is that at that time, you've not said more. That's a SharePoint service. That is what it's made of. That is what an architect would design. The next level down that is interesting is that you're going to say, well, hang on. I have development SharePoint. I have test SharePoint. I have production SharePoint. I have SharePoint internal. I have SharePoint for collaboration with suppliers. And I have public SharePoint. Those are 6 different ways to deploy SharePoint, isn't it? But it's still one service. So you don't want to have 6 different services. You want to have one service that is SharePoint, and you want to have 6 different deployment models. And when it comes to the deployment models, then it comes with some options. How do you want to monitor it? How do you want to check for the audit? How do you want to check for the compliance? Monitoring or compliance check is not specific to SharePoint, is it? It's not. So you don't want to have to develop it every time again and again. So with BMC CLM, we're giving you the opportunity to declare a limited number of core services, to develop as many deployment models that you need, independently about from where they're going to be positioned, and to develop the option independently so that if you want to change the monitoring option, you will not have to revisit all the services, which is pretty cool. So let me give you an example. People who try to achieve that type of configuration with workflows and scripts, we have customers who actually went up to 1,200 different scripts and workflows to implement his application landscape. 1,200 workflows and scripts. With BMC Software CLM, he actually deployed 102 service models. What is easier to manage? 102 service models or 1,200 workflows? And that is before you figure out where you're going to position it. Because what comes is, with the cloud, what you expect is to get some help by something called the service governor based on your policies. On your policies are tags where you reference cost, security, compliance, quality of service. Agreed? That's what it is about. Quality of service, cost, compliance, and performance. So now let me play it out. Look, I have 2 business analysts requiring for services, and I have 2 private cloud, Amazon, on my data center. And what's happening is that when this guy is asking for something, well, we check the policies and we check the capacity. And guess what? There are capacities available in the private cloud, A. Now, B is asking that again. Check policies and capacity, and it goes in the private cloud B. But now, same request, go to service governors, checking policies, capacities. Well, hang on. Private cloud A is full. Based on the policies, it's okay to get to Amazon. So think about who in your company would have to make that decision every day. Oh, hang on, that has to go here. Hang on, that has to go here. You can't cope with that level of changes. So what you do is deliver your policies, have capacity management built in, so that every time someone is asking for something, the service governor of BMC CLM is checking the policies, checking the capacities to elect where do things going to be provisioned. That is a killer. Hear me loud. Intelligent placement, it's a killer. And the killer is that you can define these policies and capacities, and then the service on the engine will run that automatically, which means that you can change the policies at any given point of time, and the system will behave differently. So if we negotiate the price with Amazon to get a cheaper price, automatically the system will behave differently. You don't have to review any of the service model. You don't have to review any of the orchestration or anything. It's going to behave differently. So CLM comes with a portal to enable users to actually go and look at the service catalog. And obviously, it comes for cloud admins to actually manage service catalog so that it shows up in the portal. In the service governor that I spoke about, comes with policies, service blueprints, which are the service models. It's obviously connecting you with the CMDB so that everything you do in the service catalog, but everything that is being provisioned goes into the CMDB so you can always track where you are. And obviously, every time that the service governor is doing something, it's going to post something in change management. It's going to enable you to operate it with BMP PM, with our performance capacity management. And it will use the BMC blade logic for configuration, but also patch and compliance. Patch and compliance. Provisioning in the cloud is great, but guess what? As soon as you started to provision something, it will happen that you will have to patch one of those components. So with the standard cloud solution, you will have to deprovision, reprovision. Don't want to do that. What you want is to actually use blade logic that is built in CLM to actually go and patch automatically all the things that are out of sync in terms of versioning. And that is what we are doing. That means that you can have 24/7 availability of your cloud platform. The resource manager is where we have built in the capacity management for those for the BMC aficionados. That is BCO. So in CLM, we have a light version of BCO that is actually enable you to actually go and provision on the resources. So that is the day one. For day two, you've provisioned in the cloud. You have a big cloud here. What's happening? So looking at what has been provisioned is always looking at it from a performance point of view, a capacity point of view, a cross-transparency point of view. That is what cloud operations is delivering to you. So we have a solution suite, which is a combination of a number of our platforms that enable you to do that. A couple of examples is on capacity management. So I hope you know that with BMC capacity management, you are actually able to actually understand what has been deployed, to understand how it's being used, to forecast actually what are the trends. And even more interesting is that you are able to run simulation. You are able to run simulation. So you can actually use that tool to simulate your cloud or to simulate your journey to cloud. I'm operating all this environment in that configuration. What if I'm actually running it in the cloud? What if I'm running it in Amazon? This tool will actually run for you the simulation, meaning telling you how many of those resources, target resources you need. And if you put the price next to it, it will tell you, okay, so to run that application in my data center, it cost me that much. If I shift it to the cloud, it's going to cost me that much. So that is a pretty important capability that we are delivering to you. In the day two, that works too. I've provisioned it this way. I've changing the prices for this different type of cloud. What if I'm doing that? Or what if I shift from VMware to Hyper-V? I have a new deal with Microsoft. What if I'm shifting away from VMware to Hyper-V? Am I going to save money? How many CPUs do I need with Hyper-V to run the same thing that I run on VMware?
Sorry, is it a separate tool?
No. So two answers. First, we're giving you capacity management as part of CLM. Okay. The what-if capability is a separate option. Okay, so you have capacity management for intelligent placement built in CLM. If you want to run the what-if scenarios, you need to have the full BCO, the full capacity management. That's an extra option. For those who know BPPM, just for you to know, we have actually deployed more of BPPM for the cloud, for managing the cloud. So it's not about BPPM in the cloud, but running the cloud. I'm giving you a view of how things are performing and what are on resolving the issues in the cloud. So it's very much connected together, and because we monitor everything that has been deployed and how it's being consumed, we are able to actually track how much it's going to cost you. So we can give the users transparency on the cost of the services that they've asked for. We can give them transparency. So you have automated chargeback, showback, and chargeback built in CLM. So time to value. So as I told you, we started 2007, and to make a cloud project in 2007 took us no less than 18 months. Long time, difficult. A couple of years, some years later, something like 7 years later now, we're now giving you the full CLM in one VM appliance, lightweight monitoring provider. We have a wizard to help you to fast the setup, and we give you all the pre-built service content, all those adapters ready-made, so you don't have nearly none to develop yourself. Which makes actually the implementation of a pilot with CLM a week long. For a very large insurance company, we did an extended proof of concept with all the use cases, 2 weeks. So within 2 weeks, they were able to actually have the portal, have the service governor, have the intelligent placement, have everything set up, and say, I want that, boom, it's done. With patching, with compliance, with chargeback. I challenge anyone to do that. So it comes with some pretty nice setup now. We've done some effort to make that right, to configure the connection, to configure your environment, to create the service offerings, to configure the tenant and the users, all coming with wizards that are coming this way. So very much easing your way to cloud. And a lot of prepackaged contents are coming with that. So now I want to finish with the compliance element, which I believe are very important. So again, everything you do, if you are a Remedy customer, you can connect CLM with Remedy. Automatically, it will create the change request, so that you can track it. Everything that you do will actually end in a CMDB integration, so that everything you provision is becoming a service model that you can monitor with BPPM, that you can monitor with Remedy. And everything we're coming with compliance and patching automatically because of BladeLogic. So let me pass that. Last but not least, it's great to believe that everything will happen with CLM, but actually it may happen that some people do stuff outside of CLM. So just for you to know, we are actually giving you a trusted cloud, meaning that we are enable you to automate compliance and to automate remediation, so that if something is happening, something has drifted in your environment, automatically it will detect it has drifted, it will correct the problem, and give you and put you back in the right situation. How to get started? I started with the Mini. I like to end up with this type of nice car. Actually, it's not very efficient. Okay. Spinning a little bit too much, but still, within a week. Okay, so why is it interesting? Because you're going to be able to actually spend most of your valuable time not on connecting bits and pieces, but thinking about what's your strategy for cloud. What are the services you want to move into your private cloud? How do you build your private cloud? As I said, how are the services? How do you actually potentially connect it with a public hosted cloud or a private hosted cloud? So you can, how does it impact your organization? Okay, so this is where you're going to have time to actually think, while all the technical integration and all the automation has been already pre-defined and pre-designed by BMC and it's coming out of the box. So within a week, you're able to do that. Coming with the Express Cloud, so not only the technology, but a consulting package, a consulting services, and some education services. So let me ask if you have questions at that stage about cloud lifecycle management. It's a very heavy and thick topic, and I've been pretty fast browsing through it. Any question? Yes? Okay, so the question is about what about the cases in public sector and government? Okay, so what's interesting that first you can definitely you can operate a full private cloud, so within a very well-defined environment, so that the public administration can actually deal with that. So with the compliance element is very core, so that you can track everything and then you can report on where the data are stored. So the public administration key is where the data are stored, can I check all the process, I think, and then security access about it. So data privacy, with the intelligent placement, you can very much say where you want to store the data. In terms of audit, compliance, and everything, I've shown to you how we deal with that. And then the third element is about, what did I say? Sorry, I have a... the third element is security. So very important. So we do all the network provisioning. The network provisioning is being done automatically, but as if you would do it natively. So we can actually mimic the network build as the people are doing it in the public administration. So there would be no change for them, and they would be still able to monitor the network as they are doing it today.